Okay, can't believe you're making me make this video, but here we are. So to start off with, I just want to say that this video is probably going to deal with some fairly touchy and controversial subjects. It's going to talk a little bit about appearance. It's going to maybe touch on a few transphobic topics. So if you feel you want to sit out, feel free. I will see you in the next one. Thank you very much. Consider yourself warned. Okay, so we're going to start with a little story in this video, a little tale, dilemma, if you will. It's something that my friend told me from work. And I'd like you to imagine that you're walking down the street and you see a fairly well-endowed woman, and she's walking towards you, and she's wearing a top, the kind of top that's very revealing, and you can certainly notice those endowments of hers. So my friend in this situation, she noticed this woman, and in fact she made a little comment as the woman walked past, something along the lines of, you should be careful wearing something like that. And the woman took offence at the comment of my friend and demanded that she does not police her appearance. Now my friend, she's told this story to several different people, and she's had a variety of different responses. If you're watching this video, I'd like you to pause right now. What do you make of my friend's comment? What do you make of the fact that she commented on another person's appearance in the street? Just pause here, put it in the comments, and you could see what my view of this is in a moment. Okay, are you back? All right then. So I listened to this story and I thought it was interesting because my friend was quite adamant that she was in the right. This person was obviously walking along the street and she'd created an impact on those around her, and so my friend felt compelled to comment because she wanted to raise the possibility that some people might not be the most safest people that she might attract in this situation. And I think her friends were quite vocal in opposition to her point of view. But I looked at this and I thought about it, and it occurs to me that when you go out in public, your appearance, it's a conversation almost between you and the people around you. It's not a verbal conversation, it's a non-verbal conversation. The clothes you wear, your appearance, it's making a statement. And the statement that you make, it's telling a story, it's addressing the world about who you are and how you want to be seen and how you want to be interacted with. So this person, the way that I saw it, she was making a statement that was potentially, because I didn't see this person, I can only use my imagination based on my friend's description, but I can imagine that perhaps she was making a statement about the way she wanted to be seen. And so while I'm not sure about addressing such people, maybe sometimes you need to be aware that how you look is going to generate a certain type of response from the people around you. Which brings me to today's topic, passing. What is passing when it comes to the world of transgender people? What does it mean? Why is it important? And why is it a controversial topic? And what was that story all about? What's that got to do with passing as well? I'm going to give you a definition of what passing means from an article that I read on this topic. And the definition that they gave is passing means is where a transgender person is perceived to be cisgender. So why is this so important? What does this mean for trans people? Well, I think if you spend any time in trans spaces online or wherever, the idea of passing comes up quite a lot. I mean, I could put millions of Reddit posts, for example, all on the topic of passing. I'll probably post a whole host of pictures and images right here. And why is it so important? I think for a lot of trans people, it taps into that notion of safety. That impact that I was talking about earlier, that effect that you have on the world around you when you step outside of the door, that conversation that you're having with people, you don't want to be conversing as a trans person. You want to be conversing as the gender that you wish to be perceived as. So therefore, passing, it can be about safety, yes, but it can also be about wanting to be perceived and interacted with in the way that you wish to, according to that particular gender that you're trying to express. So therefore, passing is really quite important to a lot of trans people. So what's the controversy about this? Why is this such a controversial topic? The issue is, because it's seen as being so important, people can become quite obsessed with it, and it can become quite a toxic kind of mindset. I mean, I look at myself and I can see the progress that I've made from day one of transitioning and today, and I can see that I probably don't pass. And actually, the reason why I'm making this video is because a lot of my wonderful commenters quite happily point that out on a video to video basis, and thank you very much. I did not realize how I look. I would never have realized unless you pointed it out in the comments section. So thank you for awakening me to reality, the cold hard truths of the YouTube comment section. You're so kind. Thank you. So this toxic mentality is discussed in this article and elsewhere. I mean, whenever you go into these discussions, a lot of the time on places like Reddit, there is this conversation, this dialogue, and I think a lot of trans people are quite wary of getting too obsessed about passing, because it does lead to an over focus, a hyper focusing on certain features of your appearance to the detriment of your mental health. I could look at certain parts of my face and I can think, well, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. But would this actually help me with passing? At the end of the day, I'm not sure, because the more obsessed I get with changing certain features, maybe I'll go and get surgery and all of these things, but even that wouldn't necessarily guarantee that I would pass. A lot of people emphasize more things like your posture and the way that you speak and carry yourself. It's the non-verbal signals that actually help you to pass, rather than the actual physical nuts and bolts. And I'd like to believe that's true, because that feels like something that I'm going to have a bit more control over. I mean, I'm incredibly tall. I'm over 6 foot tall, so there's no way that I'm going to be able to be like your average height of a woman. But that being said, there's loads of examples of women who are over 6 foot and they are passing all the time because they are cis women. So who's to say that I can't? And it's not just sort of individual toxicity that creates this friction in trans communities, but there is also perhaps this tendency towards sort of self-policing almost. And you can see, especially on places like 4chan or somewhere like that, where you get this kind of horde mentality of trans women dunking on each other and telling them how they won't pass and how awful they will look, and they'll focus in on those insecurities of those people that go to those spaces. And it's almost like a self-flagellative experience where you would go to, I don't know, to really wallow in that sort of misery and self-pity. I haven't done that myself, but I've heard people talk about it, and I can kind of understand why you might do that. But again, I'm quite grateful that I don't, because it sounds just awful. I'm just going to jump in here. This is Andy from the future, from that recording anyway. I recorded that video before my last one was released, and the last video received a lot of comments, and I think I've had more negative comments in the last week than I think I might have had in total. Well, for the last 30 years at least, that's for sure. It's been quite interesting, and I still maintain that it hasn't upset me, but it has made me think. And I do wonder if maybe some of these people have a point, because a lot of them seem to be suggesting that I'm not making enough of an effort. You know, I'm not wearing makeup, for example, and yes, I do need to get laser for my facial hair. I concede that, and it made me wonder, well, maybe I could be making more of an effort to communicate my femininity to the world. Maybe because I'm not making enough of an effort, that seems to be one of the causes for upsetting people. But then I would imagine I'd also start getting messages about how I can't reduce women to makeup and clothes, which I absolutely agree with. That's not how you would reduce women at all. But it was interesting as well, because through that week, as I was looking and monitoring and deleting these comments, there was some part of me that appreciated them. It made me think, well, maybe by being exposed to the worst that humanity has to offer, am I resilient enough to get past this? And yes, I think I find myself at the moment able to do so. I think if things escalated further, then maybe, I don't know. But that's why I've made some changes to the way that the comments appear on my channel. And also, I think there's a certain degree of, is this what the world is really thinking when their mask is off? Is this honesty? Is this what people are actually thinking behind closed doors? And I don't want to believe that. I want to believe that the people that I've spoken to and are, super supportive, all of those people, that they are being honest. And I think they are. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't be. But they represent a fairly narrow kind of segment of society. So for the broader, wider range of people, is that what they're thinking? I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure if they'd be thinking anything at all, but at the same time, it's like there is this kind of thought process, and it's interesting how this started to emerge after this week. So yeah, anyway, maybe I'll start wearing makeup, I don't know, but let's put it this way, if I do so, it's for me, and it's for my own happiness. It's not because of something that somebody said to me in my comment section. Anyway, let's get back to what I was just about to say. So what about me? What's my perspective on the take of passing? Well, I'd like to think that in a few years' time, when everything that I'm doing will start to bear more concrete fruit, the laser therapy and voice training and everything else that goes alongside the hormone therapy, I'll be able to leave the flat and go about my day, and people will perceive me as a woman because that's how I perceive myself. When I'm making these videos, perhaps in a couple of years' time, I'll see fewer comments accusing me of looking like a man. I don't know. I don't know, because there are no guarantees about how this will go. And honestly, I've made peace with that, because there are certain factors, there are certain things that I think will always be true. I'll always be tall. I'll probably always have this nose. There are certain things which just probably won't change. So if I don't end up passing always and constantly, I'm just going to have to accept that. But also on top of that, I think there's a power in being visibly trans out in the streets. I see trans people out all the time at the shops, on the train, just going around living their lives, and it really gives me a sense of empowerment. Even before I'd started this, even before I'd even acknowledged to myself that I was trans, occasionally I would see somebody and it would give me a certain thrill of knowing that there were people like me out in the world, and that maybe that there's a future for me and I wouldn't have to stay closeted forever. It really was quite validating. So if I can be that person, if I can be that example to other trans folk, then that would really be quite something. And also, I just want to talk a little bit about like all of the toxic comments that I'm getting in the comment section. I've kind of referred to them already, and I just want to address those people directly. I just want you to know that I don't care what you have to say about me and my appearance. As I say, I can see the progress that I'm making on a monthly, weekly basis, and I'm actually quite pleased with the results so far. I'm not close to where I think I'm going to end up. I know that there's still going to be a lot of time before I present as female as perhaps you would like, but I'm fine with this. I knew that when I was going to make these videos that I'm not going to look like your typical woman. That's fine. I think there's a power as well in what I'm doing if I can sort of blow my own trumpet. You see very few people like myself early in transition willing to go out into the world, put myself out there or put themselves out there and show the face of transitional trans people, because this is the reality. We don't just come out fully formed as a ContraPoints or as a philosophy tube. I love their content. I love what they have to say. I think that they are an essential voice of transgender power on this platform, and I really, really respect and admire everything that they have to say. But Philosophy Tube basically snapped her fingers and was a woman, a very beautiful and amazing looking woman, right from the moment she came out. I'm not doing that, and I'm not doing that consciously. I started making these videos for myself to sort of track my progress over time, and I'm now getting 1,000+ views. I don't mind the comments. I don't mind the negativity. It was inevitable if ever I got... I think I recognized that if ever I got noticed, I think it was inevitable that people were going to pick up on it. And it's like, you know what? I don't care. What I do care about, however, is if and when I go outside presenting in this way, will I run into danger? Will I face risk in doing this? And I probably will. That being said, I might not. And I'm in work, for example, everyone's super accepting. On the streets, I don't know. I think most people are just going to want to get on with their lives. Yeah, danger's a risk that I'll just have to take. Anyway, so thank you very much for watching. I hope that this has provided a little bit of illumination on the topic of passing. I'll link to the article that I referred to and a few other places where you might get a little bit more information on this. If you are going to make a comment in the section below, I just have one ask. Don't be a prick. Thank you very much to my friend who made me this wonderful piece of art. It's on my bookshelf always, so thank you very much, and it's a lesson that we could all learn as well, so thank you very much. Thank you to all my subscribers and commenters and everybody else. I really appreciate everything that you have to say, and I hope that you all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful week. All the best. Take care. Bye bye.